Welcome back to our study in the two letters that Paul wrote to Timothy. We are in the first letter, in the 5th chapter. We've been looking at leadership, and Paul is teaching Timothy a lot about who leaders are, spiritually, and how they act and interact with one another. We're going to pick up in verse 21, where Paul is actually using the language of ordination with Timothy, and we believe that this was his way of kind of commissioning him in. And we still use this language very much in many denominations of the Christian faith to bring people into ordination and service and leadership in the church. Verse 21. I solemnly charge you in the presence of God and of Christ Jesus and of his chosen angels to maintain these principles without bias, doing nothing in the spirit of partiality. Again, Paul is very concerned that we don't show biases towards certain people who we prefer and against those that we probably don't prefer, or in situations of choices that we would rather make this way rather than the other way, but be unbiased. And a lot of this reflects back into Paul's teachings earlier in his letters, where he is talking about how God isn't biased towards any nationality, towards any ethnicity, towards any group at all, but loves all of us the same. So there, as leaders in the church, we should be doing the same. Pick up on verse 22. Do not lay hands upon anyone too hastily, and thus share responsibility for the sins of others. Keep yourself free from sin. What he's saying is get to know who's going to be leading your church long before you put them in leadership. That's very important. We call this the process of the novice, and in these days that meant that you basically had a 2-year trial time. Some churches still do this, where you come into a church as a new attender or a member, and there's about 2 years of waiting to see if you fit and to see if they fit with you. And it's kind of a co-mutual learning each other. A lot of times, if something's going to come out about a person or about the church, you're going to know about it in a couple of years. And so we take this time to get acquainted. And leaders in a church must know the congregation, must know the people and the principles and the history of the congregation too. And that takes a while to do that properly. And so that's what he's talking about. And sometimes if you bring people into leadership too quickly, you don't know them, and they may bring their sins into that leading position too. And then you've got a real problem. We'll pick up there in our next session.